Okay, so I'm going to speak about challenges of decrypting design for crypto. Actually, I'm trying to open your mind, because people that are here or people that are in blockchain and crypto for some time can't think anymore as a people that are not being involved in the space. It's actually quite hard to understand each other. Oh, my unicorn is gone. Okay, but it can still be visible the time a unicorn. So before I proceed with what I want to tell you today, I'm just going to introduce myself for those that doesn't know me already. So my name is IVANA and I work as a digital product designer. Currently I work for Blockfolio. But I also have my own design studio here in Croatia, and I've been designing for quite a long time now. So I'm going to speak from the user's perspective. Actually, I'm going to show you how your potential users are seeing the world that you're trying to put them in. So when they hear and read and see all these words, like here on my slide, the users, potential users, not your current users, but potential users, are actually having headache because they don't have a clue what all these things mean. It's really, really hard for them to understand what you're trying to get from them. So for having blockchain widely accepted, and the really success of blockchain depends on how average person is going to understand and get what it is. So what we need to do is actually we need to go back to our users level. If anybody has kids or has been involved with playing with kids and stuff like that, if you want a kid to listen to what you are saying, you really actually need to go down to kids level, to go to your knees or sit with kids, play with them, explain them. And in that way, they're going to understand you. So you really need to deeply connect with your potential users and tell them what you need to tell them. So for them, for your potential users that don't know anything, when you mention blockchain, they probably heard something about it. They definitely heard something during that bull run and during the end of 2017. They know something about it. But when should they interact with blockchain? What that actually is? Why would blockchain mean anything in their lives? Then don't have a clue. What is block? Are those blocks the blocks that kids play with? What is the block? Concrete block? What block? It means nothing to them. And blockchain, chain of blocks, what is that? I'm a designer, and it's quite difficult to explain what I do. When average people ask me what you do, what's your profession, and I say I'm a designer, usually nobody knows what I do. So I need to explain that I'm not fashion designer, that I'm not just drawing some pretty images and stuff like that. And now comes a second level. I need to explain that I do something related to blockchain and crypto. Oh my God, how that's complicated. So I need to go back to children's level and try to explain what I actually do. What gets people excited about blockchain and where you get their attention is usually when you try to explain them that blockchain can provide them cutting middlemen out. So everybody knows when they need to go to a bank and get a loan, or for whatever we need that point of trust, some institution, we need to leave some of our money there. And it's not just about that, but that's usually the point when everybody gets excited about blockchain, when they realize that we don't need that middleman for anything that for our potential transactions that we are going to do in the future. But then when you try to explain them how blockchain works, and when you mention cryptography, they are getting lost. What does that mean? What cryptography, is that something illegal? How does that work? It's really hard to understand the principles. Why would I trust something that's based on math more than something that somebody told me that that's institution I need to trust? They learned us to trust those institutions. I should trust them. Why should I trust some math things? How something is encrypted, decrypted, what's going on there? When you try to Google some basic stuff and you come to Medium articles or some other articles that are claiming, that are explaining stuff really simple, and you read those things and you then realize it's not so easy for somebody who doesn't know anything to actually understand. And it takes time. It really takes a lot of time. So what can definitely help for better adoption of blockchain is design. So if anybody is working on any project, I think designers should be involved in that project from the beginning. It's not some top layer on your product, like you're trying to do something, you are developing everything, and then on the top you're going to put some nice fancy paper to wrap your product as a gift and wrapping paper and make it pretty. Design is not about making stuff pretty, because it's actually useless if it's just pretty but not functioning. Designers should be involved from the beginning to help understand user needs and what user is actually trying to accomplish. And for designers to be involved in blockchain projects, they need to learn more about how blockchain actually works. Otherwise, they won't be able to do those things you want them to do. What designer needs also to understand is not just technology, but also what motivates the user and what are the incentives for user to start using anything that's related to blockchain. So designers that are actually going to help any distributed app work, on top on human-centered design, which they are probably very well trained into doing, they need to introduce system thinking, mechanism designs. They need to learn more about game theory and crypto economics. And they just need to get involved into that space. You need to start all the projects with more design thinking. And design thinking puts human being, that we are all building products to, into center, but not just users. We are not talking only about users of the product, but all stakeholders of your products, including all business needs and everything else. What you need to do always is do user research as much as possible, because you are not your user, especially in the case of blockchain projects. Potential users probably know a lot less than you, and it's something that they're not familiar with. They're really afraid of that, especially since lots of blockchain projects are dealing with money, with identities, with sensitive data, and people are really afraid what's going on there. And also, user needs are probably not the same as system needs. Currently, technology is making us do a lot of things that are not suitable from the user perspective. And we need to separate what is currently needed to do this way because technology is demanding that from us. And on the other side, what our users are really needing to do and accomplish and what they want to have. So as I said, I work for Blockfolio, and I don't know, anybody uses Blockfolio? Okay. So when we were redesigning the app, we needed to take into account not only users that we had, but also some potential users. So we started gathering the data from Reddit, from different user groups, because it was a bit hard to do user research and to get all data that we needed. But we also started interviewing people around us and talking with people and trying to get who our current users are, but also who could be our potential user. And we designed few user personas. Some of them are on the screenshot here, but not only technology advanced young men between 20 and 30 are our users, especially potential users. But we would like to get into crypto space more women, and they're probably also interested, and they are. I spoke with a few of them, actually many of them. They would like to get to know more, but don't know how, where, what information they can trust. And that was the biggest blocker for getting them into the space. Also, older people that are slow, but do have some background knowledge and are curious and interested into space, and we, when designing anything, need to take them into account too. So what is seen here is people that were in crypto were speaking about moon, getting to the moon during that bull run, but people who are afraid of everything, they were just seeing a bubble. And do we know where's the truth? So before designing anything in crypto space, we really need to get empathy for our users. We need to understand how they see things. And then we need to educate them and need to empower them. And it's not so easy. So I'll just try to quickly lead you to decrypting the crypto journey for somebody who doesn't know anything. So first of all, what are cryptocurrencies? When you say to somebody cryptocurrencies, they're quite afraid of what that is. The first analogy is usually that it's something illegal, maybe, or it's connected with some illegal stuff for those that don't know anything. And second thing is how that can be a money. How can something digital have a value? What's the real value of those cryptocurrencies? But what's the real value of that paper money that we are using? Or what's the real value of that something that we holding in our bank accounts? Do you know?
That
what?
Is that, if it's for the US dollar, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and for euro is that again. It used to be gold, then became that.
Yeah, it used to be gold, but it's not gold for quite a long time now. And most usual question from the people is, do I have to buy a whole Bitcoin? They actually think they need to buy whole Bitcoin. I don't have so much money to buy all Bitcoin. Like, how can I buy Bitcoin? And second stuff is, what can I do with the crypto? Why would I need crypto? What's that? And at the end, when I get crypto, how can I convert it back to real money? And those are the main things that are running in a user's mind. And so when you say fiat, that's what they think. Not fiat money, you know everything about that. But your potential user, when you say fiat, they say fiat, okay? So they don't think that it's the government-issued currency, and usually in today's world it's not backed up with gold or anything physical. And what determines the price is supply and demand, and our trust that we have in a government actually is stability. And when there is no stability, there is a big inflation, and that fiat money maybe starts to worth nothing. Okay, and then, okay, they now know that fiat money means there are dollars, euros, kunas, whatever. But to get some crypto, they would need wallet. Okay, why I have a wallet? How I'm going to put that digital currency into my wallet? Again, they're quite confused about what the wallet is and how in that wallet those crypto coins are stored. So they need to understand that what's going to be stored in a wallet is just a private key that will allow them to access their coins. And it's actually not easy to understand. When you're doing something, you say you need to have wallet, but for somebody who doesn't know anything, that means nothing. They're really looking for their physical wallet and thinking about how to put cryptos in it. And then you need to explain them there are few types of wallets, and that can be paper, piece of paper. Oh, how can that be a piece of paper? It can be a piece of hardware, but what will happen if I lose that piece of hardware? Will I lose my cryptos forever? So again, you need to explain them that. And then the crypto wallet could be just an app, a software. You need to explain them everything and what's hot, what's cold storage, what's more or less secure. And for person that was thinking the other moment that wallet is just a physical wallet, you're now trying to explain all these things. It really is complicated and you need to explain that all. And then you're telling them that on that wallet, what is stored is your private key that will allow you to access your coins. A key, how can I store a key there? What kind of a key? So they need to understand there are two keys, and that private key is what only them will know ever. That's the super, super secret number that is absurdly large and totally random. And that by that private key, the public key would be generated from the private key, and that it's actually safe to send out. And that's the thing that it's really hard to understand. And then they need address. Oh my God, what address? I know addresses are something like this, but this is address. Oh no, what can I do with that long random number? If you're sending a letter to somebody and you miss a letter in that previous address here, like you misspelled the letter or something, maybe the postman would know and will still deliver you your package or letter or whatever. But if you miss anything here, your money would go somewhere else. These long strings are really hard to understand, and not hard to understand, but for average user, they look scary. What I can do with it? Will I copy that right? Can I share that? Can I? Where should I store those things? To make these things more human readable, like if I want you to send money to my wallet, like named like this, there are a few projects that are making that possible, and that would make stuff more easy for average person. Okay, now our potential user knows something about what are keys and wallet and address and everything. And to get cryptos, they need to go to some exchange. Oh my God, now what? Which exchange should I use? It's not an easy question. Now I start that potential user is asking around or Googling or trying to find which exchange the user can trust. And some more jargon words are coming out and people are totally confused. And for instance, user finds out that the Binance is the exchange they should go to, the one that's most used, and they come to Binance and see something like this. Oh my God, again, I don't know what to do here. And then they realize they can't even trade fiat money there. How can they convert their fiat to crypto? The stuff is really complicated for somebody that doesn't know anything about it. And then, okay, coins, what are the coins? Those digital coins, I'm completely confused. Okay, I heard about Bitcoin, so I probably am going to buy Bitcoin. But what Bitcoin actually is, just a distributed database which tells who owns what amount of what, and then record history of all transactions that ever happened. And your users probably heard about Ethereum, maybe, but I know a lot of people that never heard of Ethereum. Bitcoin is something that everybody's heard of. Everything else is quite possible that they haven't heard of. And then you're trying to explain that it's actually decentralized network. They can think of it like decentralized computer, and that can be used to store any kind of information, and that it can be used to run smart contracts. That's computer code that runs in that decentralized network, and it's really hard to understand that. And then you mentioned tokens, and the user is thinking, are those my monopoly tokens, or what kind of tokens are you talking about? And then they start to mix tokens with coins, and it's hard to understand for them that it's not the same. That tokens are actually a unit of accounting for smart contracts that keep track of ownership. And again, then they hear there are a few different standards, how those smart contracts are communicating. And that there could be something like fungible or non-fungible tokens. And what am I now talking them about? And how can I explain them? And I need to explain them that normal fungible token is something that will tell me how much of something is owned, and that one version of that is indistinguishable from the other. But if I'm having a non-fungible token, then each of my assets is unique, and there can be the other one that's the same. Like CryptoKitties. And I don't know, they're cute, and I just needed to put them in here. But it's something that brings the average people in the crypto space. Okay, now they need to do some transactions. That's again not easy. How can I do transaction? What transaction actually means here? In the physical world, that's usually buying and selling. I come, I pull some money and get stuff, or I sell something, get some money for that. In computer world, it's a set of changes that are related, and people need to understand that all. They know actually what that is, but it's now translating physical thing into digital space. And when they start thinking about trading and transactions, and they open some exchange or crypto portfolio management app, then they say candle, watt, sticks, and it looks like this. And why do you have those green and red sticks that go like that with those things going up and down? It's quite hard to understand. And why would anybody look at that when they can look at this? So what we do at Blockfolio is that we previously had only candlesticks in the app, and for the users that were using the app previously, that was enough. But if we want to get somebody who is not so much into trading, then something like this is more easy to perceive and understand. So everybody would understand from the line chart how price was changed. But this is something that is harder to perceive for somebody who doesn't know what's going on there. And not that you're only changing like euros to Bitcoin, you now need to pay some transaction fees. What are the fees? Why the fee? You told me at the beginning that if I'm telling potential users, so I tell them there is no middleman, there is no bank that is going to take me money, and now I'm saying you need to pay some fees. What are the fees? But if you're using somebody else's computer power, and actually you need to compensate for that. And that's the way of how to explain to users why would they need to pay the fee. But also it's hard to explain all the kinds of fees, and that they would need to pay gas. When you say gas, they see gas, what kind of gas, and what's the price of that gas, and how much I need to pay. And if I put price that is not adequate, my transaction is going to stay, and it's not going to be processed. So what we need to do is try to introduce human language, and with human language explain the stuff that users see the way I show you they actually see. And that will build understanding and trust. This is also one of the screens from Blockfolio, and we are trying to, something that we are currently working on, adding alert for price screen, change to something that is more human readable. So all the relevant info is here, and for somebody who's using something like this for a while, it's quite easy to set price alert for whatever the user wants to. But for somebody that is just coming into space, telling in plain language what will happen would really be quite beneficial. And at the end, I just think that when people realize that crypto is not about making a profit, but at some point I truly believe it will replace what we currently call money, I think that's it. So, thank you. My emoji again went somewhere. So it's your time. You can now ask me anything or comment anything. For those who ask or comment, I have a Blockfolio t-shirt. So if anybody wants Blockfolio t-shirts, but you need to comment, ask, whatever.
I like the redesign. That's all that I really do.
That's nice. Yeah. Okay, so that would be enough for